The next thing that I want to do is I want to talk with you about writing equations in slope-intercept form when you're given a little bit of information. All right, again, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The slope is the letter m. That happens to be arbitrary. There is no reason why they've used m. A lot of math teachers will tell you that it's the Latin form, and they'll go on and on and on. There's actually no evidence of that. I looked it up on the internet because I was curious of what the Latin word was, and it turns out there is no Latin word for it. So anyway, the y-intercept is b. We've talked about slope. We've said that if you want to calculate the slope, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We haven't really talked about the y-intercept. We have talked about intercepts in graphing, though. Intercepts are where they cross an axis. So if I draw this right here, if we're talking about the y-intercept, we want to know where does it cross the y-axis. Now, if I'm going to put a few tick marks on here, and I'm going to put a point right there at 2. Right there, I have a line that is going through at 2. Well, this point right here is 0, 2, because we didn't go anywhere on the x-axis. All points on the y-axis start with a 0. If I have a line that's going through down here at -4, the point is 0, -4. Equations that go through the y-axis, when you're writing that y-intercept, the x value is always 0. So that's something to keep in mind when we're looking at points. Now, if we want to write, I've got 3 equations that I want you to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. You're going to need the slope and the y-intercept. The x and the y are true variables. We can substitute values in for them, but in the general form, we never mess with x and y. We always want to mess with m and b. We want to put things in for them, and that'll make a distinct equation. So here I've told you the slope is 3. It goes through 0, 8. 0, 8. This is an intercept because it has 0 as an x value. That means it goes through the y-axis at 8. So when I write y equals mx plus b, y equals what goes in for the m? A 3 does. X plus b. What goes in for the b? 8. Now, this 8 is positive, isn't it? So I wrote plus 8. When the y-intercept is negative, instead of a plus in this position, you write a minus. Let's look at the second one. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals, the slope is 2/3, so I'm going to write 2/3 x in there. Plus b, my y-intercept is -9. So I'm going to write -9. Here it was positive, so I wrote plus. When it's negative, you write a minus. Now this time it just gave you a value for the y-intercept. They don't always write the y-intercept as a point. Sometimes they just give you the value. If you wanted to write this as a point, 0, -9. You don't have to, it's not part of the problem, but it's just more for, I want you to see the connections. The last one, m equals 3/8. The y-intercept is 0, 1/4. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals 3/8 x. This is positive plus 1/4. Is it okay to have these fractions? Yes, it's okay to have fractions and equations, at least in slope-intercept form. We're going to find in standard form, fractions are not acceptable. Anyway, when you're writing the equation of a line, when you want it in slope-intercept, You need the slope, and you need the y-intercept. I could have made these problems a little trickier and given you 2 points and said, okay, calculate the slope, and we would be able to calculate it using that formula. But essentially, to write equations of lines, you need the slope and you need the y-intercept if you want to put them in slope-intercept form. Good luck.